My house is literally held together by duct tape at this point. We left Maryland early on Saturday morning, with the goal of making it to a Cracker Barrel outside Albany, New York by nightfall. The drive went more smoothly than we expected, so I got on my phone and found us a Cabella's to stay at outside of Worcester, Massachusetts. Alli was really excited about being back in the Mothership again, even when it was raining, and from the moment we reached New York and started seeing hills, Ellie was grinning. Walker slept most of the drive. We're kind of worried that he's about to grow again because he's been doing that a lot recently. We're in Massachusetts. It's great. The air is actually kind of chilly in August. Alright, a couple quick groceries, and then to our camping spot. I'm so excited. Always something.
Except for something. Look at that. Got hit by a rock. In Jersey.
In Jersey. Not even 2 hours into the trip. It's fine. If this is our problem for the trip, we'll be great. Somebody hit a tree with the mirror. Wasn't me. Well, we survived the night in the Cabella's parking lot. Honestly, really nice place to camp. Other than the jerks 3 campers over who never turned off their generator all night. We managed to fix our mirror enough to finish the trek. And soon we're arriving in Maine. Congratulations, Alli. Now you've been to Maine.
I'm in Maine! Woo! Alright, time to call.
What are you looking for?
Oh, I'm watching for a moose. I want to see a moose. I might not see a moose.
We arrived in Acadia with plenty of daylight to spare and marveled at the sights and the cool weather as we settled into our campsite. Only then did we realize that the front right corner of the camper was delaminating. I don't think I put that much duct tape on a thing since I repaired a hockey stick I found in a trash can when I was 12. On Monday, we set out on the Island Explorer bus, without any particular destination in mind. We spent the day exploring the rocky eastern coast of the island between Sand Beach and Otter Cliffs. The kids played in tide pools, watched the water slam into Thunder Hole, took a whole bunch of photos, and watched rock climbers scale the steep cliffs. It turned out that the bus schedule was a little bit confusing, so we hiked all the way back to Sand Beach, where we knew that we would be able to get a bus. Walker could not resist getting in the water. We tried to get Alli to go in the water too, but it was a little bit too cold for her taste. Tuesday was the big day. We started at the south end of the island and hiked up Eagles Point and Dyke Peak before making the final ascent up Cadillac Mountain. The hike started off gently. We walked silent paths through the forest where the soil was so soft, even on the path, that our feet sank an inch or more with each step. We crossed wetlands on narrow board bridges. We picked our way among roots that tangled their way across the surface. We rounded massive boulders on stone steps made from the very rocks of that mountainside. I paused for some while at an enchanted pond, but nobody offered me a sword or a gateway to fairyland. That was probably for the best. As we ascended, the environment changed. Thick beds of moss gave way to thin coatings of lichen over rocks worn smooth by countless ages of wind and rain. Forests gave way to scraggly stands of pitch pine and juniper bushes. At each peak, we paused to admire the view, which only became more stunning each time. On the north side of Dyke Peak, we encountered a rare rock whale swimming down the side of the mountain above the featherbed pond. At one point, the trail became so steep that we had to use a metal rung sunk into the rock face to continue our ascent.
graceful like swan.
Just breathtaking. We arrived at the top of Cadillac, exhausted by the climb, but thrilled that we had made it. The journey really was the best part of that adventure. Ironically, Alli twisted her ankle on an uneven step at the tourist center at the top of Cadillac. She was determined to not let that stop her, so she tightened up her boot and pushed on down the mountainside. The second part of our hike was not quite as scenic. The North Face Trail is shorter, but also much steeper. It's also much closer to the road, so the silence of the forest is frequently interrupted by the rumble of car engines. The North Face Trail did treat us to several stunning views of Bar Harbor. We also took the opportunity to pause and wash our heads in a cool mountain stream that we passed as we climbed down steep stairs of rock. In all, we hiked about 8 miles that day, and ascended, then descended, over 1,500 feet of elevation. We were all tired and footsore by the end, but also eager to go on our next hike. Wednesday was supposed to be a quiet day. A day of recovering and resting our feet after the big hike of the day before. Things didn't exactly go as planned. We took the bus into Bar Harbor and wandered the town for a while, admiring the gas street lamps and gardens, and planning to walk across the bar to Bar Island. When we reached the bar, it was still mostly underwater. So we spent nearly an hour beachcombing, taking photographs, watching the birds, and waiting for the tide to recede. With each inch that the tide fell, Walker pressed forward. Eventually, he couldn't wait any longer, so he hiked up his jeans, tied his shoes to his backpack, and pressed forward into the shallows. We followed as best we could, picking our way carefully over sharp barnacles and slick rocks. Upon reaching the other side, Walker shouted in victory and proclaimed himself king of the island, since he was the first one on it that day.
Your island? You mean Ireland? Yeah.
It's mine.
And then he started hiking, so we had to follow him to the top.
The ritual. The first person who gets on the island every day must place a rock on the ground. And there's no magic to carry on that ritual. Okay.
It was an unexpected adventure, and one that did not treat Alli's feet especially well. but we still enjoyed it nonetheless.
AKA going through with pictures and picking out what I don't like. I'm sure a lot of them are just amazing. What little tiny thing? A little mini marsh. Oh yeah, that's cool. So cool.
On Friday, we visited the Nature Center at Sortimont. Alli had a lot of fun exploring the gardens at the Nature Center, which are arranged by the different biomes of Acadia. Ellie took lots of photos of the plants in those gardens. We then took a boardwalk through a mid-island swamp. We listened to the sounds of animals, watched as the clear spring water gave way to water stained red with the tannins from fallen trees. We walked slowly and listened to the quiet breathing of the forest. When we reached the end of the boardwalk, we took the hemlock path back to the Nature Center, skirting the foot of Door Mountain, and pausing to listen to waterfalls as they tumbled down the mountainside. We returned to our camp, and had just got a nice campfire going, when suddenly, the clouds broke, and the water came pouring down. We piled more wood onto the fire and took refuge in the Mothership, where we waited, hoping that the fire would survive the storm. Finally, the rain stopped, and we were able to enjoy one last evening of s'mores around the campfire.
What?
Really?
What? I'm telling you, they come from nowhere.
Mushrooms everywhere. Have just a couple pieces that were starting to come loose with the duck, so I'm hoping the gorilla will hold us. Gorillas are stronger than ducks, right? I mean, it should at least hold us to our next campsite, and then I can just fully encapsulate, turn the Mothership into a mummy. We'll call it the Mummy Ship from then on. It will sail the high seas of the American highways as a ghost ship. Now it probably should become road pirates, a little bit too Mad Maxy. Alright, anyways, back on the road. On our way back to Maryland, we stopped outside Augusta, Maine, to visit some old friends and let the kids go swimming in a clear, cold mountain lake. This is our last day in Maine before we head south, and it's just a beautiful day. It's been a wonderful trip. I don't know for sure that I'd want to live in Maine again full time. It's cold in the winter. So cold. But it's nice being here. And I mean, sure, you could live in the city in Maine, and you can live in the country in Maryland. But being out in the wilderness here just feels so much easier. And even, small towns You know, I can hear the highway right behind. And I'm not out in the wilderness right now. I'm in a city park. But it just feels good. Feels really, really good to be up here. But I'm really happy we got to come and visit Maine. Oh, looks like we're heading back to the camper. It's been a good week.